I was on a journey the other day and I was thinking to myself how much we like this house, how we made the right decision buying it, and moving away from going for another new build and going down the route of something a bit older, something that needed a little bit of work but not too much. And yeah, just it was a good decision. Yeah, it's got its downsides, but ultimately we're happy. But then I thought, what don't we actually like about this house? And wondered if I could come up with 5 things that we actually hate. And it was quite difficult. And I was trying to think of things stuff that we don't like that we can't actually change. And it is proven quite difficult because we are changing quite a bit in this house. Now, I was thinking the build quality and along them lines, and it did prove quite hard because we really like it. The price was right. The size is great. A bit big for 2 of us, but it's something we're hoping to grow into in the future. The location is absolutely perfect. We've got a rural setting, but without being too far out of it. As previous property, we had the rural setting a little bit. It was out in the sticks, but it was miles away from anywhere. It were an hour drive to family, to do anything, go shopping, everything. So we've sorted the location out. That was perfect. So it just had me thinking, and these are the 5 things that I could come up with that would say we don't like about the house. Unfortunately, they are things we can change, some of them, but I've tried my best to do things that we can't change. So here you go. First thing is running costs. So this house is probably double the size of our old one. Sorry about the flickering, it's because of the LED lights. So yeah, this is probably about double the size of our old house. Much bigger living room, much bigger bedroom, another bedroom, 3 stories, double garage that's attached. So with that comes cost. The house itself was dearer, so his mortgage has gone up, probably 20% more mortgage. But I don't really see that as a cost as such, because that is maybe a bank account, if you like, if you see it as that. So we're spending money, 20% more a month, but it's getting invested into the house. The house price is potentially going to go up, so that's an investment side of things. But then it's things like the council tax. So this house is about £500 a year more council tax into the month. That's about £40 a month-ish extra. Then there's the heating bills and the electric bills. Now, electric is pretty much of a muchness, but it's things like, now, as old house in the living room, for example, 2 light fittings. As old house had the same, but in the bedroom, there was only 1 light fitting. So by having 2 light fittings, there's more consumption. Then there's the heating. So with this house, much bigger space to heat, so there's an increased cost. Now at the minute it's hard to judge, but I'm estimating maybe 10, 15, maybe £20 a month dearer. But what I've done is to combat that, and hence why I'm stood here, is install Nest. There's other learning thermostats not learning thermostats, but smart thermostats out there that will sense your location, turn the boiler off, so you're not wasting energy. So to combat the extra costs, we've gone for the not radiator valves. We've gone for the Nest thermostat, which will help us control expenditure a little bit and not waste money as such. What else have we got? We've got house insurance. To be fair, it's not a lot different, but I think it's about £20 more a year, house insurance, and that's about it. Water's going to stay the same, but the other thing is the cost that you wouldn't really think about, such as decoration. Decorating the living room is probably going to be dearer. The bedrooms are going to be dearer. We're going to want new bathrooms eventually, so more tiles, more bigger shower, things like that. They're all costs that add up, and yeah, I suppose it's what you take on and it's what you've got to have. But it's something we don't like about this house is the sheer cost. But it's a luxury. It's bigger than we need. We don't have to have something this big, but we see it as an investment. Item 2 would be outside space. So I'll go outside and I'll talk you through. Now, we picked this house specifically for its countryside setting. It's very rural, so the views out front are fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant. The downside is how much we're overlooked. There and there. Now, to be fair, it's not that bad. Having been round to the neighbours, we can actually see more of them than they can see of us. Now, this is one of them things that you can hate, but we can do something about. So what we're planning on doing is lowering the garden, lowering the patio, and it's going to be private. The wall eventually will get raised up, but it's nothing major, so we can put up with that. And then the neighbours there, that's their bedroom. They never look out the window, so I've got no qualms with that. It's a rural setting. There's only a few houses, so what? We had new builds before. The gardens are overlooked. This is a much bigger garden, a lot less overlooked, so I'm not too bothered. So with the rear garden, it's one of them things, we're not bothered, but we would prefer to not be overlooked. It'd have been lovely to have field views, seeing into the distance for miles on end, but fortunately, we were probably looking at another £100,000. Not for us, unfortunately. So we have to make do for what we've got, unfortunately. But never mind, we're quite happy. So, and while we're on about the outdoor space, I'll spin the camera around. There's no front garden. Now, those that follow on Instagram will know I like looking after the garden. So taking a house on that doesn't have a front garden is a bit naff. Also, as you saw there's a bit of building work happening. I've seen the plans for it. It's no issues. I'm actually quite looking forward to the building work getting done. All it is someone building their own house in the corner, and then there's going to be 2 houses built opposite us, but nothing to do with us. We'll only see the side of their house. It'll finish the area off. We'll get a nice new driveway out of it, because our driveway only feeds 3 houses. So yeah, that'll be a nice finish. So moving on to the next thing. Hatred number 3. We're there. So I don't want to talk down on whoever it was that owned this house beforehand, but it is terribly maintained. So things like, I don't think the boiler got serviced once, but we've had that done now, so that's fine. But it's daft stuff like, when I turn the camera around, it's just simple things that you could have just done to prevent it. So if you see there, radiators all flaking, the paint and everything. If that were me, I'd have probably either rubbed it down, painted it, or just replaced the radiator for it costs. You can also see there, under every radiator, the skirting board has come away from the wall. Now, it'd be wrong of me to say that that's the maintenance of the house, because yeah, although it can be put back on quite easily, it's down to the build as well. Now, that, it's just literally, I'll not show you because it's disgusting, but behind the toilet, instead of cutting a nice circle as you would for the tiles, they've just chipped away and there's a massive hole and it's just rubbish, really poor. The light fittings, things like that, ignore that hole, I've made that, but I'm waiting to decorate to fill it. But the light fittings, so I've replaced the lights in the house. Now it's apparent that an electrician has changed the light fittings. Who he used, I've no idea. But they've tried various methods of fixing the lights to the ceiling. Unsuccessful methods. Which has then meant that when I've come to do it, there's not enough cable for one. the fixings aren't suitable, so I've had to change the fixings, but they've used massive corkscrew type fixings, which have just created a massive hole. So then I've had to, downstairs, I've had to move the light about 50 millimeters, just out of the way. But then I've had to cut a bigger hole so I can readjust the cable. So I've got enough slack on it to attach the new ceiling light. Again, something that could have been prevented just using decent fixings, but that's down to the electrician that fitted those lights. So yeah, it's one of them things, maintenance, but it's what we've got with taking on an older house. Now, you know, we've had 2 new builds previously, and with that means that it's down to us. Yeah, you've got sometimes a builder's mistakes and things, but ultimately it's in pretty good condition. Whereas what we've found with this is we're taking on other people's mishaps and poor workmanship, when it could you just take a bit more time and care, which is why I like to do things myself. But it's what we signed up for. We took on the bit of a project. Yeah, it's not a mass renovation, but it's something just to, like, the little niggly jobs that takes time, take a little bit of money that adds up, and it's things that you don't need to do normally, but never mind, it's one of them things. So let's move on to point number 4, which is what I like to call the unknown. So when we first moved in, the first thing which I would class in this band as the unknown was we didn't move in for a week. We didn't have any furniture, any belongings in the house. I wanted to give it a thorough clean, top to bottom, and just make sure everything's sort of clean and habitable for us until we just start ripping things apart. My mum was cleaning the bathroom, or the ensuite, scrubbed it, used loads of water, yeah, great. Until we come downstairs, and just there, water was literally just coming through, seeping through the plaster, and really, it would drip, but a lot of it. And yeah, all over the floor, all over the windowsill. And it's things like this that are just the unknown. You don't know until you've tried whatever it is, that something's broke. But it goes back to my previous point of workmanship and bodging. So the reason there was a leak was the the plug for the sink upstairs was on a mechanism. But what were happening is there was a washer missing from inside the plug hole mechanism that someone's obviously taken apart and taken out, but couldn't find a new one. Water was running down the drain in the sink, or through the plug, out of the hole that was in the mechanism, straight down the outside of the waste pipe and through the ceiling. Now, the previous owner could have told us about that, because it's one of them things that you know about. There's a stain on the ceiling. It was an £11 fix, if I remember rightly, from Amazon. I just bought a new mechanism, fitted it, and it's been absolutely fine. So no issues there. But the same thing in the utility room. The waste, there's no bung on the end, so water seeps out. And it's all these things that are just the unknown. You don't know until you've tried them. And yeah, we've not spent a lot of money on things like this. Maybe £80. But again, bodgers, it's £80 we didn't need to spend if someone had just fixed it before. And yeah, they're just annoying. Takes time, makes a mess. Fortunately, we're ripping all this out very soon. This wall's coming down. We're having a big open plan kitchen diner and new kitchen. So it's not a big problem. We've sorted it. It's messed up the previous decoration, but it's all getting changed. So, and on the unknown is the boiler. I don't know if it's ever been maintained, ever been well serviced, whether it's safe. And this is just after we moved in the house. So what I've done is I've set up a maintenance contract. I've had the boiler serviced. It's been given the all clear. We found out it didn't have the safety recall that it needed, which was actually 6 years ago now that the safety recall come out. Free to do. Why weren't it done? And these are unknowns that it's cost we've incurred because there's no record of whether it's been serviced or not, and we've just had to take a guess. We've done what's right for us and what's safe for the house and everything and us living here. So yeah, another point. Point number 4, the unknown, not knowing what we're going to come across next. The final point, which is point 5, is a bit of a love-hate one. We can't change it. We would have to knock the house down. We can't do anything about it. It looks great, but is an absolute pain in the backside. And that is stonework. Picturing now of the house, as you can see, stunning. Character, brilliant. But it's when you start working on it. Now, from the previous video, you'll have seen I fitted the up and down lights. Again, look brilliant. After the time taken, it was well worth the effort, but the shapes of stone is unreal. You have to chisel it out, make it flat so things mount to it. Then you've just got to look at like this wall here. So look at the normal wall thickness would probably just be that. But because we've got stone above, this wall's had to be doubled in size. Everything drilling straight through the wall. You need a longer drill bit, so I've had to buy a bit longer one that's suitable. Stone as well, I've found, is rock hard. Compared to brick, bricks are like butter. We love the fact that it's stone built, but what a nightmare it is to work with. And yeah, it's not something we can change. The house has to be knocked down if we want to change it. We're not going to change it because it looks fantastic. It's very in character with the area. But yeah, I'm realising it is hard work working with it, fitting anything. So far I've fitted bell box for the alarm. I've got another one to put up, CCTV. That was a nightmare. And the up and down lights, again, bit of a pain, but we got there eventually using an SDS drill and chisels. I managed to neatly make space for the lights to go on a flat surface. So yeah, bit of a nightmare. I've got 2 more outside lights to fit. Some up and down ones on the rear, but then I've got a floodlight to go on the front and one on the back. So again, they'll probably be annoying, but be worth it in the end, as with any job really. So yeah, that is the 5 things. That concludes the 5 things we hate about this house. I know there were minuscule things, things that we can change, which we will change, make it suit for ourselves. But you can't have everything. If you can't afford it, you can't have it. We can't afford the 100% perfect house. So yeah, this is honestly, it's up there and we're very close, but it's just going to take time, money and effort really, and we're putting a lot of effort in. But I think I'll spin the camera around and give you a nice closing view of the countryside, which is up there with probably one of the best things that we like about this house. Check this out. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like if you did, and go check out the Instagram account, follow the journey on there. There's daily posts. Thanks for watching.